Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Matt Moline, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager here at Grit Technologies. Today, we are talking about expecting the unexpected when it comes to cybersecurity. So, one of the things that, especially in the last the last couple of years, we've seen an explosion in cybersecurity breaches, along with just general concern amongst all of our clientele and also other people that we've been talking about, and really how this is the best way, to protect our clients when it comes to cybersecurity. How can we stop breaches from happening? And what we've always tell people is that it's not just one solution, it's a whole myriad of solutions to do that. There's not one solution that's going to do that, but we are going to talk about one specific piece in your cybersecurity strategy today. I have a partner that we work with from Arctic Wolf. His name is Andy. He's going to be walking through just talking about how things have changed, what do we need to look out for when it comes to remote workers, how our security is impacted when we move things to the cloud and so forth. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand that over to Andy. Andy, thank you so much for being here today.
Alrighty, well, thanks everyone for joining today, and thank you, Matt, for inviting me to this conversation about ending cyber risk. My name is Andy Bomback. I am a customer success manager here at Arctic Wolf. So I work with our current customers on a daily basis, helping them harden their security posture here moving forward this year. So our whole mission here, in partnership with Grit Technologies and Arctic Wolf, is to really end cyber risk for our customers, and we'll get into a little bit how we're able to do that with the partnership with Grit Technologies as well. So the problem that we're seeing today in the industry is really that cybersecurity has an effectiveness problem, and that's the problem that we're trying to solve for and helping our customers do exactly that. And the reason that cyber risk does exist in the first place, and why incidents keep on happening, as I'm sure we're all aware of in the news, is because the industry has an effectiveness problem. The escalation in threat activity and the talent shortage in the industry has really created a situation where, even despite a lot of products and cybersecurity spend, we aren't getting better protection that we need. And to put a finer point on it, there are over 3,000 vendors selling cybersecurity products right now in the industry, and the total spend last year was a staggering $120 billion. And even with all of that, there was still almost 4,000 breaches, which was a 96% increase over the previous year. And it's kind of a surprising number, but that's what we're seeing as a problem, is that even with all the tools and all the spend and all the vendors right now in the industry, we have an effectiveness problem. And that's why we aren't seeing the results that we need to see today. And that's why Arctic Wolf and Grit are trying to tackle this problem. So if we keep on going ahead, so really it's about finding that right approach for your company. And to put some context behind kind of where we are today and where we came from as an industry, historically we started with pretty basic tools like antivirus and firewall tools. And in the threat landscape of the 80s and 90s, that approach was effective. But as attackers adapted and found new ways to bypass those controls, the market shifted more towards next generation tools. So these are things like next generation firewalls, next generation antivirus tools, leveraging artificial intelligence and different types of machine learning to try to get that better effectiveness, as well as the emergence of different types of endpoint detection and response tools, or EDR tools as we know them today. And even all of those new tools, after they appeared, a new problem arose, which was complexity. That became the key challenge. So the market shifted again, and this time was all about consolidating those tools into one location. And we began to see security platforms really consolidate at this time. But even after we adopted new tools and consolidated them into cloud platforms, we still weren't getting that effectiveness that we still wanted. So now the market had shifted again, and the new shift involves recognizing that tools alone will not solve the problem for you. If you really want to get the value from these new tools and these new platforms, we really need to ensure that they are being operated properly and by the right people. So now the trend in the industry is to inject human expertise into the process, really in an effort to bolster the tools with an operational component. So this recognition really came on the heels of some of the severe security breaches that we saw in history, which I'll go into a little bit here in the next slide. Target, the first one that we saw as being a really big breach, very important to the industry. This one hits close to home for me. I'm out of Minneapolis, so as Target is headquartered out of Minnesota, so we know this one pretty well. So in the case of the Target breach, we found a situation where an advanced threat was detected by a security tool, but nobody responded to the alert. And as a result, the attacker went unnoticed and was able to proceed and ultimately accomplish their malicious objectives. So they have the tool in place, but they didn't have the right expertise to respond. And if we go to Equifax, again, I'm sure everyone's familiar, but what we saw here was the attacker simply exploited a known vulnerability that was in their environment, and virtually every vulnerability management tool, even free open source tools, were able to identify today, provide different types of logging for this type of thing, and there are a number of products available still to identify these risks and misconfigurations, but they didn't have the sufficient monitoring or prioritization in place to identify the misconfiguration before it could get exploited. To really wrap this up, so all these companies had the right tools in place, that they just didn't have the right processes and they didn't have the right expertise to really help them withstand a breach, and they all got breached, unfortunately. But if they already had the right processes and the right expertise in place, these things would have never happened. So really, they're not product failures. This is really the whole theme of this webinar, is they're not product failures, but they're operational failures. To prevent these types of breaches from happening again in the future, we truly believe that the industry needs to adopt a new approach, and that really is that operational approach. So what is the operational approach? What does it mean? So really, it's ensuring that these 5 aspects are in place. And from our perspective, this is how you really get the security effectiveness that you're looking for in today's threat landscape. So broad visibility, of course, extremely important. You can't protect what you cannot see, and too many organizations have blind spots. Organizations should have total visibility into their environment at all times, and their security capabilities should span from endpoint, network, and into the cloud. And better yet, all that telemetry and all that data should be stored in one single consolidated location. 24/7 coverage, pretty straightforward. The bad guys never take a day off, either should you. Very, very important to have that 24/7 holistic coverage. Access to expertise. Your partners at Grit will be assigned a team of named security professionals that you'll get to know your environment inside and out. I work with them every day, and we keep on hiring top talent in the industry that you will get assigned to your company that literally get to know your environment inside and out and are constantly fine-tuning different types of alerts and tickets for you. You get that strategic guidance from them as well. We call them the concierge security team. So they like to say that security is a journey. It's not a destination by any means, and you should learn lessons from incidents and consider what that really means to your overall security program. And you will receive the strategic guidance really through not only Arctic Wolf, but Grit as well, with our strategic partnership. And finally, continuous improvement. Your security posture should get stronger and stronger as you go on, and your organization should get more resilient over time. And if you're not, you're doing something wrong. And this can only happen if you have a real strategy in place moving forward. Better protection against all attack types. So we all know there's different types of different attacks today. Phishing, ransomware, what have you. There's all different types of attacks, so you need to have that 24/7 coverage. So does the operational approach really work? We believe it does. We see it every day work. And our goal is to provide the better protection against all these types of attacks. And observations from our customer environments do indicate that we do drive better security outcomes for our customers. One of the most important metrics that I would take away from this slide is that mean time to identify. It's sometimes called dwell time over on the left. The industry average right now is 206 days to find an intrusion. We commit to doing it in 30 minutes or less. This is extremely key because it ensures that we identify incidents before they escalate into full-blown breaches. For the rest of these metrics, it really is important to keep in mind that all of our customers have a variety of security tools already in place. Even with those in place, we still identify phishing activity that was able to bypass security tools in 18% of our customer base. We identify advanced threat activity, command and control beaconing, as an example, that was able to bypass security tools in 43% of our customer base. We identify some degree of personally identifiable information exposure in 70% of our install base, with 5.5% having critical exposure, or as examples where usernames and passwords are in clear text on the internet. And then we enable customers to patch critical vulnerabilities 35% faster after activating Arctic Wolf with our Managed Risk platform. So really, this is driving better outcomes across multiple disciplines, not just one, in cybersecurity, and this is key to improving your overall security posture, and really is a unique benefit of embracing security operations, especially security operations that are managed for you. So we'll dive into a little bit of the solutions that we have today here at Arctic Wolf. The first solution being delivered by our concierge security team, which is fully managed, is called Managed Detection and Response. So this is really that 24/7 holistic coverage detecting service that we offer. To put as an example, if you have a house, it's really that fancy alarm system, the lights, the alarm system in front of the house, the Ring doorbell if you have one, that's really detecting any intrusions if there are possible intrusions. So that's really that fancy reactive alarm system that you can get on your house. And really the purpose of this solution is to help you defend against advanced threats that bypass your existing prevention tools. We fundamentally believe that you can't have protection if you don't have detection first. And we know this capability is badly needed by our customers, because the graphic at the bottom, 70% of our new customer environments, we uncover active threats that were missed by their existing prevention tools. We can do this because that we have our concierge security team who knows your environment inside and out. They are providing that 24/7 coverage, but they also use their unique understanding of your environment to not only triage alerts and make sure that only top priority incidents make their way to you as alerts. So this is solving for that alert fatigue problem that we always see, getting a bunch of false positives. You don't know what's real, you don't know what to act on. So this really solves for that alert fatigue that we see quite a bit when customers sign up with us. They also hunt for threats, and when a threat is identified, we can contain that threat on your endpoint or at the network layer. And it's important to note that all aspects of managed detection and response are made better by our broad visibility, seeing across endpoint, network, and cloud, which does eliminate blind spots, helping identify more threats, and it also enables us to see the whole picture, so we can drive to a resolution a lot faster. And we believe that we are uniquely effective at managed detection and response because we look at the full threat cycle, not just one aspect of it. And in addition to detection and response, we do also help you recover. So after the incident, we conduct an in-depth forensics to find the root cause. We validate it as well so that it has been fully remediated, and help you implement a more proactive countermeasure to make sure it never happens again. So that first one is called Managed Detection and Response. The second one we'll go into is called Managed Risk. So if you think of having that fancy alarm system for detecting, this is that more proactive countermeasure. So you check in the back, all the doors are locked, the windows are shut, the garage door is shut, the back door is shut. This is really making sure the house is secure proactively before you leave. So this is called Managed Risk. This also helps with prevention of ransomware as well. So detecting and responding is obviously is good and necessary, but managed risk is really designed to help prevent incidents in the first place. We know this capability is also badly needed because the Center for Internet Security, or CIS, says that 80%, if you see that graphic at the bottom, 80% of our breaches could have been prevented if the organization had met the 5 CIS controls. So these are things like having device and software inventory, secure configurations, and doing constant and continuous vulnerability assessments in your environment. So we can do this. Again, this is managed by your concierge security team assigned to your account. They monitor risk for 24/7, but they also have a regular security posture review to advise you on which vulnerabilities and configurations to tackle first. Obviously being critical first to non-critical at the bottom, but you want to handle those critical vulnerabilities right away. So how do we do this? So we do network vulnerability scanning, internal and external. Internal vulnerability assessments, so we continuously scan all of your internal IP connected devices. We're cataloging your core infrastructure, equipment, workstations, Internet of Things, also personal laptops and devices with internal vulnerability assessments. We also do external vulnerability assessments, so we're continuously scanning for internet-facing servers to understand your company's digital footprint and really to help quantify that risk and exposure to your business, if at any. We're also doing host-based assessments, so this extends vulnerability scanning also a little on a deeper level inside workstations and servers through continuous host-based scanning to reveal threats and also user behavior that could possibly put your organization at risk as well. So we also do security control benchmarking. So we have an agent that comes with the service. So we have agent-based security configuration benchmark scans to reveal gaps that are possible between configurations that can really drift over time if you're not on top of it. And we also identify digital risk beyond just vulnerability assessments. So we do account takeover risk as well. So we monitor the dark web for evidence of your usernames and passwords being exposed and alert you on them before they can be used against you by the adversary. So to really wrap up managed risk, being that more proactive countermeasure, we believe that we are uniquely effective at this as well, because we take that holistic approach to digital risk. So we start with the basic task of discovering risk in your software, assets, and accounts. Then we find those items by both looking for vulnerabilities as well as benchmarking against configuration best practices across our customer base. And once we have that perspective, we advise you on how to prioritize your remediation actions to ensure that you are continually hardening your security posture over time. So that is our second offering today. Our second solution is called Managed Risk. The third offering or solution, which is mostly an add-on to Managed Detection Response and Managed Risk, is called Managed Cloud Monitoring. So this extends into if you have Office 365, Google Cloud, if you have Salesforce, Box, we're able to monitor those SaaS applications for you as well. And this solution extends really, again, to manage detection response and manage risk into the cloud as we continue to adopt more infrastructure and we start to utilize and leverage more software as a service applications as well in the cloud. This is extremely important that we're monitoring this as well for you. So we know this capability is badly needed as well because nearly half of all security incidents that we detect across our customer base do include a cloud component. And businesses are rapidly adopting the cloud, but they are really struggling today with cloud security, and attackers are exploiting this gap today. So again, our concierge security team assigned your account will provide all the cloud expertise that you do need. They work with you on everything from basic tasks like identifying your cloud infrastructure to more advanced tasks like monitoring for threats related to your apps and ensure that your infrastructure is configured in a secure way and maintains that secure configuration over time. And our broad integrations do ensure that you have coverage that you need, really in this ever-expanding world of cloud platforms and services that you have right now in your environment. We believe that we are uniquely effective at this as well, at monitoring because we simplify the problem for our customers. It's very simple. We bring the necessary expertise to identify and monitor all cloud resources and leverage your expertise in manage detection response and manage risk to make sure that everything is secure. And again, broad integrations is extremely important. We're able to provide security coverage across our customers' most important cloud services because our platform is what we call vendor agnostic, providing a single security watchtower basically across the entire cloud landscape. So we can integrate with endpoint tools that you currently have. We don't want you to rip and replace any of your investments that you've already made. So we can integrate into your current antivirus tools, your current endpoint tools, as well as your firewalls as well, to get really that holistic 24/7 coverage. And to give a real life example of how we do manage cloud monitoring, this is a real life example from one of our customers that has Office 365. As you can see, this is a bit of a timeline of an incident that did occur recently. So at 2:07 a.m., we saw a Office 365 authentication from Nigeria. Obviously, shouldn't have been trying to sign in from Nigeria. They had no employees out of Nigeria. So we saw that at 2:07 a.m. Someone from our security operations center, one of our security engineers, investigated that authentication a minute later after finding it. Still at 2:08, about 30 seconds later, we called the partner of record, which would be Grit Technology in this case, informed them of a compromised customer account. And then at 2:17, about 10 minutes later, the partner of record reset the user credentials, and we were good to go. So from start to finish, from locking out that user, that possible malicious user, it only took us 10 minutes. So that's that capability, and this is at 2:07 a.m. when you're sleeping, because we see most of attacks and breaches happen, from after 8 p.m. To about 8 a.m. in the morning. Obviously, you'll be sleeping at that time, so knowing that someone has your back and watching over your environment should help you sleep a little bit easier at night. And to really wrap this up, why Arctic Wolf? Why would you make this investment? Well, you get that stronger protection, so you get concierge experience with our top talent security engineers, broad visibility in that 24/7 coverage, which gets you faster outcomes, and then better value in the long end. So we don't price on data that we ingest. It's unlimited data, which makes it predictable pricing, as well as you can leverage your existing investments in security platforms that you have already made. So really, it's that stronger protection, faster outcomes, and better value. Hopefully that you can sleep later at night, that you have two partners, Grit and Arctic Wolf, watching your back while you're sleeping. And that's all I have. Thank you for everyone for listening to me. I think we're going to open it up for questions.
Yeah, Andy, thank you so much for just kind of walking us through, that solution. And so for those of you that are, tuning in, one of the things we always get, when we talk about Arctic Wolf and our partnership with them and talk about, a SIEM and a SOC solution. By the way, we have a whole video on that. If you're interested in that, let us know. We can send that resource to you. Andy, one of the questions I always get, is kind of people are always looking at, is there just one solution, and can this one solution just prevent, ransomware? Does it keep, phishing emails from coming in? If somebody asks you that, what's your response to that?
Yeah, I don't think there's a one solution that is going to stop everything. I think it really having that multi-layered approach, having firewalls, having antivirus tools, having endpoint tools, as well as having a managed SIEM SOC like Arctic Wolf is really going to be the key to really defend against the ever-changing and innovative threats that are out there today. We see them in the news, and really having a multi-layered approach, as well as having expertise that know what they're talking about. It's hard to find talent today, and in the security industry, and not only to find them, but also retain top talent is really hard to do it yourself, and that's what we have at Arctic Wolf, and that's what you can get through Arctic Wolf and Grit. So having that multi-layered approach, as well as a managed security solution, is key today in today's threat landscape.
Yeah, I would absolutely have to agree with that. And I mean, the other part to this too is that in one point that you point out in the presentation is, it's average is 206 days, that people are potentially sitting on your network. I mean, that's almost 7 months of time that people are going and possibly doing some harm, gathering information. I mean, that's a pretty big piece. And I don't think a lot of people understand that you're protecting your network, with a firewall and other security. You've got, antivirus, and you got spam filtering, all this stuff. it goes down to, this is outside of the physical security of your network. I mean, it's all of that social engineering. So I guess what other types of products, should you also, consider? We're kind of talking about a layered approach. What other things have you seen, or what other things that people are using to protect themselves? Because this one solution is not the only solution. There's other pieces to that. What have you seen? What do you recommend when you guys get that question?
Yeah, I mean, that multi-layered approach for sure, but also I think the biggest thing that you can do is really train your employees. So, looking into a security training platform as well. Phishing, I think 90% of breaches are attacked at employees. So training your employees on what not to do and what to do and what to look for when they get emails coming through. We're obviously a security company, and we get trained every day on what to look for through emails, and it's easy to click on a malicious email or a phishing attack because they're so good at it now. They're so smart. They look at information on your LinkedIn, and they act like it's like your boss sending you an email. So really training your employees on what to look for as well, I think is probably the best proactive approach that you can take. But you have to be proactive with your security approach. You can't wait, until you get breached, because it's expensive, right? If you have a ransomware attack, it's going to be expensive. That can really put you out of business. We see it happen every day. So really being proactive with your approach, I think, is key, and also training your employees what to look for.
No, that's pretty good. I mean, and to kind of piggyback off that too is there's, we got earlier this month, we got a, notice from the White House that all businesses need to, beef up their cybersecurity. Talking about, what we just talked about, having a layered approach or building your cyber resilience and have a plan behind that is, going to be, a really key piece to this. What other types of, what do you guys see? A lot of times I get companies, asking, what other, we're just a small company, right? What ultimately can we do? Do we really need this? Basically, the question I get a lot is what do we really need to worry about this? We hear about, the pipeline, having a security breach. We hear about this major meat packing plant that recently, got breached. If we're just a small business, do we really got to worry about it? I mean, what do you say to people when they ask that question?
Absolutely. I think even if you're an individual like myself, I'm worried about my own network, my own personal network. So even the small companies, the majority of our customer base, is between 1 to 300 employees, or that's really where I think 90% of our customers lay in. So small customers, even you might not think just because you're not a Target or an Equifax or a Capital One that you're not going to get attacked. That's not correct, right? There, a lot of attackers are going at, it's really industry. Whether if you're in finance, it doesn't matter the size of the company. It's really the industry. If you're in finance, healthcare, we're seeing that as well. So just because you only have 10 employees or 20 employees doesn't mean you're not going to get attacked. So having that, being proactive, is extremely important, and it costs money, but I wouldn't look at it as a cost to get a managed solution. It's really an investment for long-term security.
No, absolutely. And honestly, I want to just say thank you, Andy, for just giving that presentation. We are talking about SIMSOC. We're talking about tools to constantly monitor, the network, to help with all these social engineering, breaches that are happening. The remote workforce is a real and present thing, and it's not going away. We're not, you have to be a news junkie to understand that that's something that's going to stay. So again, thank you so much for your time today, and we really appreciate your partnership. We love working with you guys. We love using the tools, because we use it internally as well. It's not just us, and our clients, using it. We use it internally. We've had a great partnership. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you all for attending. If you have any questions about SIMSOC, about Arctic Wolf, or even just the strategy, when it comes down to how to best protect your business with social engineering, just security breaches, how to best handle a remote workforce, we're here for you guys. Definitely give us a call. And again, have a great, wonderful day. And thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you.